So men don't ghost because they're scared. They ghost because they learned something and that changed the attraction. And I know that's hard to understand, it's hard to accept. But if you keep getting ghost, that's feedback. That shouldn't be used as saying there's something wrong with them continuously. And I know it hurts to say that. I know it doesn't make you feel good. It hurts the pride. But if you continually get the same sort of feedback, you can probably start trying to make some changes. I think that's how I would look at it, especially if these men physically get intimate with you and they decide, okay, juice ain't worth the squeeze, and they leave. And sure, I get it. We would love if you had a, better communication. This becomes genderless, right? Men, we experience it too, but sometimes we experience it on the very outset. You can't set up a date. You had something set up and she just stopped replying. This happens to us all the time. What we need to do is to take a step back. Don't rant and rave over it because that's not really going to change anything. You wouldn't want to be with someone. You wouldn't have to beg to be with someone. To me, that'd probably be one of the worst things you could do. But we should look at it not like it's a mystery, not like it's unheard of. We can't fathom what's going on here. Look at it as feedback. First of all, especially when you're early on dealing with someone, we have this idea and expectation of closure, that they somehow owe you this closure after the first date, second date, first time you slept together. We know our society does not treat that type of physical intimacy as reverently as it should. So we have this assumption that when it does happen, when we do share the bed together or a time together, I somehow am beholden to you, you are beholden to me. But the commodity of sex has become much more cheaper, and we can go into that in a whole other video. But the point is, it's not a mystery, right? It's clarity without explanation. One of the things I tell my friends all the time is that silence is a response. No response is a response in itself. Just like when you text your man a huge paragraph, a thesis, and he gives you the thumbs up, that's a response. That's saying everything that you wrote there, I don't feel or have the need to reply to that. You are not worth reading through this, or he's finally had enough and I'm not dealing with this. So when we get ghosted by either gender, that's exactly what it's saying. You don't rate this type of response. You don't rate this type of explanation. So this is not time for us to kind of pine over it. This is time for us to simply accept it, move on, but with the lesson. Especially if you're someone that's a constant receiver of being ghosted. It's not that, okay, and it's easy to think that he just didn't know how to communicate. He's just immature. No, sometimes people look at it and say, I don't owe you enough to have this conversation. Or they may have tried to have that conversation, or they simply observed, hey, you're not one that is easy to communicate with. When we look at it in the post not clarity sort of realm, and if you don't know what that is, that's saying like when men finally get that evil out, they come back down to reality and they start really thinking with their head. There's a school of thought that's saying that I don't really know if I like you until we've had sex. Because what men will put up with, the lengths men will go in order to sleep with you knows no bounds until he gets that maturity under control. But once that's out the way, once he can think with a clearer head, this is why you end up getting ghosted after you guys have had intimacy, after you guys have had sex. He's realized, and it hurts. He's realized there's nothing really here for it. Outside of it, that's it. So now it hurts because he's gone through that point, through that phase. And now he's back to reality and saying, wow, buildup wasn't worth it. Now he's looking for that quick exit. And yes, there's no problem saying there's a whole host of immature men that just simply ghost because they don't have the capacity to have these conversations. But what I want to emphasize is no one really owes you these conversations. Men, when we get ghosted on apps after you've paid for dinner, after you've had a good time, and you immediately see you're blocked, it's not time to hunt her down on social media, hunt her down by emails. No, it's okay. There was something here in the approach that maybe I got wrong. Maybe I interpret this as this was a good date and it wasn't. Maybe there's something wrong with her. Maybe this is an MO. Maybe there's things in the past. Maybe this is just, I got to chalk it up to the game. I'd rather that approach than ruining the next 3 months, 6 months, and having this hold over your head thinking, what is wrong? I need to talk to this person. I need to find this. Wasting your time. Ghosting is probably part of the dating strategy nowadays. You have to realize that it's not sometimes just a reflection on you, except if it's happening over and over and over again. In this sense, maybe your packaging is really good. Hey, you can sell it. Guys, when you lead with your wallet, when you lead with trips, when you lead with these experiences, what happens? People think this is what I come to expect. When you do date them and you do these things, as long as they're getting what they want, it's fine. But the minute the reality is you don't pick up in that Rolls Royce, you don't pick it up in the Lamborghini, because these things were never who you were. You say, oh, wow, this isn't what I signed up for. I'm out. I'm out. And then you're sitting there because you really into her. You really wanted to make something work here, and there's nothing there. On the opposite side, men, sometimes when you talk to a woman and you realize it, yeah, outside of the look, there's nothing really here. There's no substance. This happens to us a lot of the times because we get obsessed with the window dressing, with the physicality, because we are physical, we are visual creatures. So in our society right now, it makes it very easy. That's the most important thing. We know how to attract each other. We know how to look good. We know all the finer points and all the finer details of how to entice a man. But what happens afterwards? We never talk about how do you keep him? How do you keep his attention? How do you feed him outside of physically? And some men that have done the work, that have actually taken the time to understand their place in the world, they can look and they can see, oh, outside of the physical, there's nothing here for me. So they'll take that. If it's being offered, if that's all you can do, that's all you have to offer, a man is not going to take down something. He's not going to say, oh, no, don't worry about it. Right? I'm talking in mass. He's not going to say, don't worry about it. But afterwards, after that's run its course, where does that leave you? Yeah, ghosted without an explanation what happened. And then you make your way to social media and talk about how all these men are terrible, how they don't do right by you, how they're the worst creatures on the planet. Yeah, we can feel for you. We understand. We hope that people will get the closure they need. But sometimes, like most things, that's not guaranteed in life. You can't put that on the rest of us saying, he goes to me, men goes to men do this, or why did it keep happening to me? It's maybe time to just do a little feedback, take a little account and say what it is about me. And I know we don't have a society that teaches that on either gender, either side. But I think men are easier to sort of coach and say, yeah, you might want to look at yourself first. As a man, if something fails, I want to look at myself first. I want to be the first recipient of any type of blame, especially ones that I'm handing out, because it's an opportunity for me to get better. It's difficult. I've seen that it's difficult for women to adopt that same sort of mentality. If something did not work out, maybe it was me. Maybe I screwed it up in some sort of sense, in some sort of light. You can take the advice, it's up to you. I hope you do. Or you can probably continue to get ghosted and wonder what is wrong with all the men on the planet, rather than thinking, maybe I have a little work to do, a little growing up to do. But if you disagree, let me know down in the comments. If you see videos like this on your screen right now, take a look. Let me know your thoughts about those videos, in those videos. And of course, this is how my voice and you enjoy content like this, subscribe. I'll see you in the next one.